this weekend in Orlando. He is in a Bant Eldrazi mirror, and his opponent, Manny Orellana, is who we're going to watch. And Orellana looks to be on the play here for game number 3. So a breeding pool is where Manny will begin things. This is an Ancient Stirrings. Take a look at the top 5 cards, Will Orellana. We'll see if he finds something that he likes. He will consult the grip before making his selection. It looks like both players have kept 7 cards. A lot of the time in the Eldrazi mirrors, it comes down to stuff like Eldrazi Displacer and Drowner of Hope.
Yep. The things that manage the battlefield the most efficiently have to be the best cards here.
Windswept Heath there for Stevens.
Or at least they act as though the trumps.
Yeah. Temple Garden pass the turn back. Stevens will sacrifice that Windswept Heath. Gonna go a-searching.
It wouldn't surprise me if the card that correlated strongest to winning was, in fact, Eldrazi Temple.
Sure.
But assuming the game slows down a little bit, then Displacer or Drowner seem like the key cards.
Back to Stevens. We are going to go breeding pool the draw. He'll play a Temple, and now there is a Matter of Shaper. Orellana will be untapping here in just a moment. Not sure if he has a removal spell for this Matter Reshaper or not.
A little surprised to see Matter Reshaper, although I don't know exactly how many good options does Stevens have in the sideboard. Seems like it's just way too small for the types of threats that show up in this matchup.
There's an Eldrazi Sky Spawner. It does generate a little bit of value on the way out the door, so not the worst card.
Yeah, I mean, there's no absence of really good cards to choose from. You got to cut something good.
Yep.
It just doesn't seem like it's really sized the right way for this kind of matchup.
Here comes the Reshaper. It'll deal 3. Windswept Teeth here for Stevens, and nothing exciting to do on this next turn.
It's really surprising. This Eldrazi deck does not play a whole lot of instant speed. So maybe a removal spell in hand would make some sense. It's not like either of Orellana's threats here are great to remove, but probably just a land-heavy hand most likely.
Well, we're going to find out right now, right? Because here's the Thought Knots here. Assuming this does resolve, we're going to find out exactly what's going on. I have to imagine he's got a Path to Exile, and if he's letting this resolve, he might have 2, but you actually see the hand. Stevens is going to search for a land in the meantime. Path to Exile, Reality Smasher, and just a bunch of lands in his hand. Brush lands, 2 of those, a Breeding Pool, and then a Cavern of Souls. I'm going to search for a Temple Garden. So now the question is, what card does Orellana want to take?
It kind of depends on the quality of his hand. If Orellana thinks like that he has a high-quality hand here, he can just say, all right, I take the Reality Smasher, you can path my Thought Knot Seer, and you get, a couple random draw steps here, and assuming that Orellana has another Thought Knot Seer or a Reality Smasher in hand, suddenly he has a big edge on the battlefield. If his hand is just a removal spell, but otherwise not that heavy on threats, then taking the Path to Exile makes more sense.
Well, you take the Path to Exile. Now here's an attack for 3, and it looks like it's going to be 15 all as we head back over to Todd Stevens, who's got 4 lands, a Reality Smasher, and a draw step. Didn't get a great look at what he drew. Oh, it's a Drowner. Now here's Reality Smasher. Beat downs. Well, now it's going to go down to 10.
Drowner, pretty much the perfect draw here.
Hard to argue otherwise. That attack feels a little risky. Just because if a Reality Smasher comes crashing back, we're in a real racing situation.
Yep. I think sitting back on defense is kind of risky too, especially because Orellana's Thought Knot Seer from the previous turn suggests to me that he has a removal spell in hand.
Sure.
Because he left the Reality Smasher. So you don't want to hang back on D, lose out on the 5 points, and then have your thing get killed anyway.
Very true. Very true. There's a Smasher. Beat downs. Matter Reshaper is going to jump in front of Thought Knots here. 5, 6, 7, 8 damage is going to come across. Steven's going to fall down to 7, and then he'll get a trigger from the Matter Reshaper dying. So long as he does remember, which he does. Top card, Smasher.
Okay. Well, hold up. Dismember still isn't out here because he has the Scion.
Yep. You're right about that. Sack. Okay, so he's going to dismember right now. Okay. He's going to fall down to 6. Oh, you said it. He had the Scion. It's important. Time to draw. Yavimaya Coast.
Though I think there's an argument for Orellana to just allow Stevens to go to the turn and then attack, because he wins the game if Stevens takes that line.
Yeah.
Now suddenly it's complicated.
Yep. I think you actually wanted him to play Reality Smasher and just attack both of his creatures.
Right, exactly,
yeah.
Yep.
Here's Drowner along with the 2 Scions. Orellana will draw.
And what's Orellana's leftovers too, because he pitched a Drowner last turn for the Reality Smasher trigger. So, guy has something good left over.
Drowner will tap the Reality Smasher as we're in combat here on Orellana's turn. So that 5/5's not allowed to attack. Sky Spawner will, though. Steven's going to fall down to 5.
Tough spot though for Orellana now at 6. Something can get tapped, whatever his largest blocker is, and Stevens has the Reality Smasher still.
All right, Ghost Quarter the Temple. There's a Forest.
Yeah, it doesn't keep Stevens off of casting the Reality Smasher next turn. I guess Orellana hoping that maybe there's not a basic in Stevens' list. If he gets a Strip Mine there, then maybe he can keep him off the Reality Smasher. Or at least force him to sack the Scion, and at that point Stevens is down a tapper.
All right, draw. What do you do here for Todd Stevens?
Well, if you think that Orellana doesn't have a removal spell, which seems unlikely, you can just play the Reality Smasher, attack with both, get a card for your Trouble off the Thought Knot Seer, and have the ability to tap the Reality Smasher next turn.
Well, what if the removal spell goes at the Drowner? When you don't have the ability to tap the Smasher.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be hard for him to beat a removal spell on the Drowner one way or the other.
That's probably true.
Because he's going to have to do something about the Reality Smasher and the Sky Spawner.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's Smasher. Attack with everybody.
Yeah, I mean this is a line that lets him beat nothing, and there's reason to believe Orellana's on nothing.
I think he's got a path. Don't have a great look at it.
It's got a path, and this is not too complicated of a line here. You can path the Drowner. Block the, I guess he can block this way.
This will allow Stevens to search up a land. Reality Smasher will trample over for 1. But he gets to draw a card off of this.
Yeah, I think my preference would have been to block the Scion.
Yeah.
And go to 1. Because a draw here of like Path to Exile, for example, is still, you're still playing on.
Draw. Thragtusk.
Woof.
Yeah.
One turn late, most likely.
I mean, Thragtusk a game winner. Here comes Reality Smasher all by itself. And that is going to do it. Manny Orellana is going to win this match over Todd Stevens 2-1. The Bantel Eldrazi mirror goes to the player on the right. And for Stevens, he will pick up his first loss here this weekend as Orellana wins the mirror.
You can see it's a lot about just